So in the last video, I just showed you how to set up the project again and save the scene. So again, you want to save your scenes in a relatable folder. So when you're working on a project, for example, you might have several different scenes and you save it all within that project. So if you missed that, just go back to the previous video, but we're going to get started here animating. So let's go ahead and go to the animation window. Remember, we want to be in animation. And we'll go ahead and just create some primitive objects. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a plane. And I'll scale that up. Remember the R key is to scale, and if you want to scale that up, you click right in the middle. Otherwise, you're non-proportionally scaling this, this way, and that's fine for this lesson because it doesn't really matter. If you scale up, absolutely nothing's going to happen because the plane has no depth. Now, if you have too small of an object or too small of a handle, like you'll notice here the handle's too small, you can go ahead and size that up by hitting the minus or plus key to see it better. So it really is very useless when it's so small that you can't grab the handle, so you want to scale that up so you can go ahead and grab it in the middle. So hit, again, the minus or plus key to make it smaller or bigger. So, there's a nice big handle. I like big handles on my things, except for when the scene's like really cluttered, you might want to make it a little bit smaller. So anyway, there we go. So want to make just a plane for the ball to bounce on. So, and then we're going to create the bouncing ball. So we're just going to create a NURB sphere for now. And so we want to create that, the default size for this is fine. We want to be in the side view most of the time when we're animating this because we're going to be bouncing it off of this plane. So we need an object for it to bounce off of. The grid is not really adequate because it doesn't render out or anything. But here we have a ball and we have a plane. I made the plane a little bit bigger than a grid, and we're going to want to animate it across basically on the x-axis here. So you'll notice that I'm hitting the space bar to zoom in and out of the view. So when I hit the space bar and I have my mouse over, say, the perspective view, I zoom into it. When I hit it again, I zoom out of it. And so I can go into, say, the side view or the front view in this case. And then I can navigate there. Remember the middle mouse button with the Option key on the Mac or Alt key on the PC to track that scene, and then the right mouse button to zoom. So I'm going to want to animate this guy across. And so this first part here, we're just showing you the basic keyframing. So keyframing is the process of taking an object and setting a key, setting animation keys. Now before I do that, I want to change the pivot point of this object. So you'll notice that the pivot point is right in the center by default when we create primitives. So let's go ahead and zoom in here, and we're going to want to change that pivot point. So let's go ahead now. On the Mac, you're going to hit the home button and make sure you're in transform mode here. So make sure you're in W. And then you want to go ahead and hit the home button, which is this button kind of on the right side. There's like a right in the middle between your regular keys and your number keypad. There's a little, there's 9 keys on the top above your arrows, and there's one right in the middle that says home. So you want to hit that home button. And so you notice the icon slightly changes. We want to grab in the middle. Now, if you're on the PC, you want to hit the insert key, which is around the same area on the keyboard. So the PC keyboard's a little bit different. I'm going to zoom into this a little bit more. Now you'll notice I placed my ball kind of right, not exactly on the plane, but a little bit lower, so it appears to kind of go right through the bottom of it. But I want to drag this to a point at which I want to scale it from. So if I drag that down, now I have the home key. I'm still in that mode of changing the pivot point, and if I go back to my home now, I can hit home again, and so now I have that point or axis to transform from. So if you'll notice, if I go to the rotate key, for example, if I hit E, I'm rotating from there, and I'm going to undo that. Or if I go to my scale and R, right, it's scaling from that point. Okay, so we want to keep it back at 0. If you rotated or scaled or anything, just undo that and go back to the regular mode there.